A bold and highly controversial move. USA President Donald Trump announced late on July 31, 2025, that tariffs on Canadian goods not protected by the USMCA would rise from 25% to 35%. Effective August 1, 2025, the executive order, issued from his campaign headquarters in Florida, sent immediate shockwaves through international markets and across the Canadian business landscape. Trump accused Canada of continued inaction on trade imbalances, retaliatory posturing, and even went so far as to blame the country for contributing to America's fentanyl crisis through alleged loophole shipments. The statement, as always with Trump, was provocative and polarizing. The Canadian government, caught off guard by the timing and scope of the announcement, responded swiftly. Prime Minister Mark Carney, in a televised address from Ottawa, condemned the move as a direct attack on Canadian industry and diplomacy. He urged citizens and businesses to remain calm and resilient, promising an emergency relief package for the hardest-hit exporters. Canada will not be bullied into economic submission, he stated firmly, while also calling for greater trade diversification with Europe, Asia, and Africa. Among the industries immediately affected were Canadian steel, lumber, maple syrup, wine, and manufactured components not currently shielded by USMCA clauses. Several businesses in Ontario and British Columbia reported halted shipments, delayed payments, and panicked calls from USA clients overnight. A maple syrup cooperative in Quebec stated that its distributor in New Hampshire canceled a $2.3 million order within hours of the announcement, citing price uncertainties due to the tariff spike. The political message was clear. Trump was using economic pressure as both a campaign tactic and a warning shot. By escalating against Canada, he rallied parts of his voter base, who see America First trade policy as a pillar of national strength. Yet in Canada, it had the opposite effect, reinforcing public unity against perceived USA aggression. The hashtag #StandWithCanada trended across social media platforms by the next morning, as consumers pledged to support local businesses and boycott American goods. This is not the first time Trump has wielded tariffs as a weapon. In 2018, he implemented steel and aluminum tariffs on Canadian imports, only to backtrack under pressure. However, this latest move is more sweeping, and many argue more personal. Critics note that it followed a string of public spats between Trump and Carney over climate policy, global taxation, and most recently, Canada's plan to recognize Palestinian statehood, an issue Trump referenced in his tariff decree as a sign of betrayal. In response, Canada's Parliament convened an emergency session. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland announced a review of retaliatory tariffs, stating that Canadian jobs and sovereignty cannot be leveraged as bargaining chips. She also hinted at reactivating dormant WTO dispute channels, a move that may reignite a broader trade war, not just between Canada and the USA, but among G7 allies trying to mediate. Public sentiment has shifted sharply. Several Canadian grocery chains placed signs by USA-imported items, urging shoppers to choose Canadian alternatives. Independent retailers in Toronto, Calgary, and Halifax reported surges in domestic product purchases. Local craft brewers, farmers, and manufacturers have seized on the moment, launching proudly Canadian campaigns and selling out merchandise that proudly distances itself from USA branding. Economic analysts warn of serious consequences if the tariffs persist. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce estimates that up to 300,000 jobs could be affected if bilateral trade slows by even 10%. Small businesses that rely on cross-border partnerships are especially vulnerable. It is not just about trade, it is about trust, said one Vancouver logistics executive. And trust is what is breaking down right now. Still, some voices argue for calm and negotiation. Former diplomats from both sides have urged cooler heads to prevail, recommending a back-channel summit before year's end. This cannot become another 2018, said one former USA ambassador. We need dialogue, not drama. But with Trump doubling down and Canada refusing to cave, the prospect of immediate reconciliation seems distant. As the dust settles, the narrative is clear. Canada is being tested, economically and emotionally. And in a world of shifting alliances and weaponized tariffs, the country must now decide. Will it bow under pressure, or rise stronger by betting on itself? Like, share, and subscribe to West is Best for more powerful stories on Canada's economy, sovereignty, and resilience.